Mom, this water's getting sucked down too. Yeah, whoa. Ooh.
There it is. Yay!
It's gonna go! We are Ben, Charity, Dakota, and Trinity. We bought our first RV in 2017 and set off to live a life of travel and adventure.
Was I? Come hang out with us? Of course. Good boy.
When the steam blows this way, it's like I'm getting a facial. It needs to come back this way. It feels good on my skin. In this episode, we show you around Yellowstone National Park and give you 10 tips on planning a visit to this natural wonder. If you haven't been to Yellowstone National Park, it is an absolute must-see place to go, especially if you're living the RV life. We just spent a week in Yellowstone and we learned some things while we were there. So we wanted to share our experiences with you so that when you go, you're able to make the most of your visit. So stay tuned.
So this is going to be a grand experiment.
Yeah, tell me about it. Because we're definitely glampers, not campers. And so why this kind of stuff is just gorgeous and beautiful. And it's like, you don't find campsites like this in a traditional campground. It's definitely stretching beyond the limits for our family because there's only electrical. There's no water, there's no sewer. So we made sure that we had an absolute full tank of fresh water before that we arrived, and that our tanks were empty before we arrived. But this is gonna definitely be an exercise in conservation. And we'll have to see how this goes. It's day one. We still have full fresh water and our gray shows half.
So Yellowstone is the oldest national park in the United States. And it also has some geothermal features that you will find nowhere else.
We're gonna give you our top 10 tips for visiting Yellowstone National Park. Now, make sure you watch to the end because we're gonna give you a list of the top places to see in the order of importance that we felt like was probably the best bang for your buck, so to speak. So if you only have a few days, we'll give you the top things to see on just a couple day trip. And then we'll also give you a list of things to see if you have more time in the park. So make sure to watch until the end for that list of places to see in order of importance. So one thing we like to do at all the national parks is participate in the Junior Ranger program. So we're gonna stop inside this visitor center and see if this is where we need to pick up the kids' Junior Ranger books or if it's elsewhere. So at this particular info center, they only have the Junior Ranger books between the hours of 8 and noon. And right now it's after 1. But they said they have them up at the info centers up where Old Faithful is and a few other places in the park. So we'll just pick them up once we get in the park. Let's go. So this is another bonus. We're having a 4th grader paid off. So we had a 4th grader this last year and the park pass is good through August still of 2021. So we have got national parks all summer long for free with the 4th grade pass. I'll put a link in the description below on how you can get a free national park pass if you have a 4th grader in your family. So if you've got a 4th grader, kiddo, grandkiddo, make sure that you take advantage of that program to be able to get that national park pass for free. So tip number 1, everybody we talked to said go earlier in the day. Well, that's just not gonna happen for our family and try to get everybody out the door at 6 a.m. But what we did find was actually going later in the day around 1 o'clock or so proved to be the perfect time to go. There was no lines to get in the park. It gave us a chance to eat lunch at the rig before we went into the park. And I'm gonna give you an important tip on food next. but it was a great time to be able to go. There weren't a lot of crowds at that point later in the day, and there was actually some really good wildlife viewing in the evening. When we went around the first part of July, even if you go around the end of June, there is still plenty of daylight left where it doesn't get dark until 9 or 9:30. So going later in the day, you've got a good 8 hours of daylight that you still have left. So that would be our number one tip as far as what time of day to go. So coming in later in the day today definitely paid off. The park is open pretty much all day long, like 24/7. So, you know, coming later in the day, especially in the summer where it's not dark until, 9:30 at night, really can prove helpful because most of the other crowds seem to be coming in early in the morning and then heading out, and we got right in.
They've got a tiny baby and then a grown-up baby. Wait, no. Mom, one of
So there's elk
it's
out
got three
here.
babies.
There's elk with babies.
I found them in my telescope.
I think it's got
They're
three
so
babies.
cute.
It's so tiny.
So we're here to go on this little trail, which we'll show you here in a minute, but this parking lot is a mess. So even though we did come later in the day and we got in the park right away, this parking area, we'll see if we can find a place to park or how this is gonna pan out because it's definitely packed. So we shall see how this goes because I'm not so sure at the moment. But hoping that there's enough kind of in and out happening that we'll be able to find a spot to park. This Ford Escape over here decided he's gonna park sort of Jeep style where he's sort of like half on a hump. Hey, whatever works, right? So we did actually find parking with a little bit of a false alarm. Down further, there was definitely way more parking spaces available. So we are still convinced that coming later in the day, especially when it's in the height of the summer and you have way till like 9 o'clock before it's dark, is a good idea. So we are walking in this particular geyser area. Very cool. Smell of sulfur is pretty strong, which is just, what it is. But this is just probably the most amazing national park I think that we have been to yet. You definitely want to put this one on your travel list.
What does it smell like?
It smells like our bathroom after you're done with it.
Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain, go where the wind blows, let it.
So tip number 2, food, snacks, water. There are not a lot of places to grab these types of things once that you're in the park. Things are pretty primitive. Things are pretty rustic. There are concessions available at a couple of places. The Old Faithful area is probably the best place if you do find yourself needing to refuel with snacks or water. But just plan on loading up the cooler and bringing in tons of water and snacks into the park. Also, I will put a link in the description below for my favorite day pack for these types of outings, and also the water bottles that every single one of us carry. It's 40 ounces, it's perfect for hiking and these types of day trips. So this Silex Spring is very cool. You can feel the steam as it comes off, and today's probably about 85, 90 degrees. And when the steam comes off, it still feels hot. So you know the water is just that much more hot as it's coming out. It's crazy. I don't know if you can hear that with the camera microphone right now, but this is the most interesting sound coming from this like geothermal area where the steam's coming out. Like it's just like this thundering noise. Very, very interesting. So it's like some of these are going all the time and then some of them just go like, intermittently or whatever. So now this one that we walked by earlier that wasn't doing anything is going off. It's so cool. So if you come, make sure you give yourself plenty of time. We'll be giving you some tips as far as do we feel like that was long enough or too long. So definitely though, plan for some time to be here so that you've just got time to allow the things to happen as they happen.
Tip number 3. You're going to want to make sure you bring your good shoes that are conducive to walking. There are a lot of boardwalks and places to walk, but to get to the good stuff, you're definitely gonna need to do some hiking. So definitely bring those good shoes.
So we're here at the middle geyser area, and this is where the grand prismatic geyser is supposed to be. So this is like one of the things that you absolutely want to see, must see when you come to Yellowstone. The parking lot today was a little bit busy. We had to wait a little bit to get in, but it wasn't anything that was a super big deal. We did find a spot, so still is possible to do. Again, so far, coming later in the day, it seems to be paying off. So we'll let you know if we still feel that way as the day goes on, but we're gonna take a walk up here and check out the geysers.
Tip number 4, you're going to want to be sure to bring some binoculars. There's a ton of wildlife in Yellowstone Park, and that's one mistake that we made. We did not bring binoculars. We saw a lot of people that had them, and they saw coyotes and wolf and bison that were way far away, and we could hardly see them. You can rent binoculars from a camera shop in West Yellowstone. One thing that you will want to be on the lookout for are wolves that peek their heads out of tree lines.
So here's a tip. If you want to get the big aerial shot at Grand Prismatic, then you need to actually do this hike called Fairy Falls. And that's F-A-I-R-Y, like the little fairies that fly around Fairy Falls. Because this is how you get to the overlook where you can get the really cool shot at Grand Prismatic. So definitely want to do the boardwalk and walk around, but then you need to drive down just a little bit, park, and then do this hike up to Fairy Falls. It's supposed to be about 1.6 miles, so not bad at all. So the view up here, totally worth the small hike. A little bit steep at the end, but the kids did great, came up here no problem, and this is definitely the view that you want to see when you come to Yellowstone. I feel like I could just stand here for like hours just looking at it. It's so beautiful, and when the sunlight hits it, it's definitely much different than when there's cloud cover. Tip number 5, download the Yellowstone National Park app. Now this is its own app, completely separate from the National Park app. You'll want this app because this has things like maps, geyser prediction times, a lot of helpful information that you're going to want to know. Plus, this app works offline. You're going to find that there's very few places that have cell service in Yellowstone National Park, and the few areas that do have cell service, it's not very strong, especially if you're trying to get any sort of a data signal. So downloading that app beforehand is great so that you have access to everything while you're in the park, even with no cell service. So we're here at the old Faithful Center, and this place, I've never been here before, but it's like a whole complex. There's like lodging, stores, food, you name it, it's here. And there's cell phone service here. So if you need to check some messages, send some texts, answer emails, you can do that from here. So we're gonna run into the visitor center and hope that they're not closed because it's a little later in the afternoon. See if we can't pick up a couple Junior Ranger books. If not, we can do that tomorrow. But we're gonna check it out and then go see Old Faithful. What's super interesting is that we were reading that this is only one of 5 places in the entire world that has these thermal type features where you see, you know, water bubbling up from underneath the Earth's crust. And it's the only place in North America that you find that too. So one of a kind wonder that is here in the United States that you don't find in very many places across the globe. Oh, here it goes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's coming.
Is that it? Everybody's getting bored waiting. Here it goes. Here it goes. It's gonna go. Is that it?
Oh, that was awesome.
If that was it, I'm gonna be disappointed.
All right, guys, let's go home.
Although I've heard that happens.
Whoa! There she is.
Wow.
See, I think they're like awesome. Look at that. It's going like. You getting this done?
Yeah, I got it. That's crazy.
30 feet in the air. That's what I just said.
That's amazing. Wow. Look at that.
There's like 2 rumbles. One like shook the deck. And
Did it
then
really?
like the other one 9 minutes later, like we heard it from the geyser. It was crazy.
That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it was loud.
Very loud.
People thought it was thunder.
It was pretty cool. Tip number 6, bring bear spray. Now, we didn't have any bear encounters while we were there, and we didn't hear about any bear encounters while we were there, but they do happen frequently in and around Yellowstone National Park and the national forest surrounding the area. So we went to the Wildlife Center, the Grizzly and Wolf Wildlife Center in West Yellowstone. And they had a great demonstration on how to use bear spray should you need to use it. And one thing we learned that we didn't know is that if you need to spray your bear spray, don't point straight ahead, but point down towards the ground. If a bear charges at you, they're going to be on all fours. They're going to be lower to the ground. And what you want is for that bear to have to run through the cloud of spray before they get to you, because that cloud is going to be what stops them. If you spray too high, that cloud is higher in the air and they can run right underneath it. So if you would ever have to use bear spray, it's helpful to know how to use it. We'll put a link in the description below for bear spray on Amazon, but there's also places in town in the West Yellowstone area that you can rent bear spray for the day and return it when you're done. So if you forget it, that's a great option to have as well. Remember what the ranger said, it's 200 degrees, it can cause 3rd-degree burns really fast.
Tip number 7, fill up on fuel before you go into the park. Yellowstone is a huge national park and fuel is not readily available. So you're gonna wanna make sure you go ahead and fill up right before you come into the park. Day 3, still have room in our gray and black, still have 3/4 of a tank of fresh. So we've been doing a really good job at the whole water conservation thing here. Electric only hookups. So we may just make it to day 5 here, people. We just might. We're gonna take you into the park again today, and we're gonna go over some places that are must-see places when you come to Yellowstone. Everybody that comes has different timelines. So we're going to kind of try to go in a priority order of, if you only have 1 day, see this. If you have 2 days, maybe see this, and then so forth. So day 3 for us, and then we're gonna take you
on what you must see if you've got some extra time in the park. So this is an area known as Artist Point, which is in what is called the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. So we made a stop here because this is the area where you're supposed to be able to see the falls. So we wanted to be able to do that as kind of our last stop while we were here. There are so many other places to see in Yellowstone if you have multiple days that you can do that. And so we'll talk a little bit about those here later on. But this is one of those must-see places. It's just my crazy crow, just, you know,
Oh my
never mind.
God. Whoa.
But this is really cool, and this is a place you definitely want to check out when you come to Yellowstone National Park.
Get on in and let's go out. So let's run, run, run. Where we've been, don't matter now. Let's run, run, run around.
So this is just the most majestic area that I have ever seen, and I can see why that. Just everybody that came here was just wowed and amazing. So I was looking on the app, and it actually says that in 1872 that Congress paid Thomas Moran $10,000 to do an oil painting of this Grand Canyon of Yellowstone area. And when you think about it, 10 grand back in 1872, that was a crap ton of money back then. I mean, 10 grand, still quite a bit of money, but back then the value would have been even higher. So they paid him that to capture this area in an oil painting, but then they allocated $0 for the park's budget that year. So it's just kind of funny. They were like, oh, we want to see it in a painting, but they didn't allocate any money to actually turn it into a park. And obviously that's changed since then. And now you've got all of these wonderful walkways and overlooks to come experience the park. And you should definitely think about doing that, because this is just amazing and breathtaking and something that definitely needs to be seen in one's lifetime. So we're losing daylight, but we've hit everything that we've wanted to hit so far. So we are gonna just trot down this little trail to an overlook for the lower falls and get a good up close look at it before that we call it a day. But oh my gosh, this is the most amazing national park that I think that I've ever seen. And if you come, I think you would definitely agree. In fact, if you've been here, you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you've been here and if you think that this is maybe the top of your list out of any of the ones that you've seen if you've been here. So we're gonna go take a look at the falls, and then we're gonna wrap it up and call it a day. But stay tuned, because we're gonna have some great tips of some experiences that we've had during our visit here that we know are gonna help you when you're going to plan your visit. This is amazing.
Can we go there?
Definitely wanna see the upper falls and the lower falls. The upper falls is the one that
Sure.
everybody kind of like talks about.
The upper and lower.
Amazing.
This is the lower, right?
Maybe this is the lower, I don't know. You just wanna see them both. You wanna see them both. So the kids are excited, they wanna get misted. So we're gonna see if we can't get misted.
We're gonna get misted and we're gonna get disted.
So there's 3 different overlooks in this particular area, an upper, a middle, and a lower. And the kids want to stop at all 3, but I just want to get to the one that's the closest that you can get to it and see if we can feel like any mist coming off of it. So I'm going to keep going down further. Like Splash Mountain at Disney times a million.
What do you think?
Last saw you over here and I'm like, where did Daddy go?
Where did Dad go? Thought I fell over?
Yep.
So I'd have to say so far that this national park is definitely probably the top of my list. And Not that we've been to every single national park, but we've hit some of the big ones like Zion and the Rocky Mountain National Park, some of the ones that people say are like the top national parks. This is definitely the top national park that I think I've ever been to. So you'll have to leave me a comment below. Let us know, have you been to Yellowstone? And did you think that it trumped all the other national parks out there? Or what were your thoughts if you've been here before? And if you haven't, you'll have to let us know in the comments too. If maybe you've got a trip planned or you've got that in the works for the next year or two, because it's definitely worth coming to visit.
Tip number 8. You're definitely going to want to watch for traffic jams, or as we call them, bison jams or elk jams. So you may come around a corner to find a long line of traffic, and that's typically when you can know that there is wildlife to be seen in the area.
On top of the world, on top of the world.
Tip number 9, if you've got some kiddos, definitely take advantage of the Junior Ranger program. We love doing the Junior Ranger program at all of the national parks. With Yellowstone, there is a cost associated. It's $3, but the kids actually get a really cool patch once that they have finished their Junior Ranger books. And there's just so many cool things in the books with fun facts about the park. And it's a great way for the kids to learn more about the park and kind of have a fun reward at the end. So make sure that you take advantage of the Junior Ranger program.
That's
What you doing, little miss?
Junior Ranger book.
Nice.
That's ear spraying.
Are you almost done?
I know.
Not
Kind
yet?
of, sort of. I'm not done yet.
All right, it's official. You are now a Yellowstone Junior Ranger.
Thank you.
Good work. Congratulations. Make sure you keep on exploring the rest of those parks out there, okay?
Tip number 10. If you want to get some really good wildlife views, the valley areas are the best areas to see wildlife, specifically the Lamar and the Hayden Valley areas. Now, these are really big areas, and like we mentioned earlier, binoculars are super, super helpful. So if you're planning that trip right now, we'll put a link in the description below for some binoculars we recommend on Amazon. But you're gonna want those to be able to see the wildlife, and you want to plan on driving through these valley areas because they're breathtaking in addition to having really good wildlife viewing opportunities. So I can really see why this is one of the most popular national parks and one of the most visited, because there's nothing like this anywhere else on Earth really, and it's so unique and just so otherworldly that you're not gonna get this experience anywhere else. Can't get over the colors, how amazing the colors are. Trinity goes, "It's the color of my bedroom."
It's so slippery.
It's true, it is. It's the color of my bedroom. And like the bubbling, I mean, it's just everything is just so cool. And when you look out like over there and you just see all of the steam rising, it makes you think of like what a valley looks like in the morning, you know, when this like the cloud cover is kind of dissipating, but it's not a valley in the morning. Everybody's super hungry. And it is so busy here because West Yellowstone is pretty much the only place that there is, as far as like a town is concerned, for like food or anything right outside of the national park. And so everything is super, super busy. Like it was going to be a 45 minutes to an hour wait to be able to go sit down anywhere. So we just grabbed pizza to go like carry out. And we're just going to eat it in the Jeep because it was going to be just too long to wait otherwise. And we're all just starving. So here we have our picnic in the Jeep tonight. So just a word of wisdom, if you are coming down out of the national park, a good thing to do would be to maybe call ahead, see if restaurants will make reservations, or do like, you know, where you call ahead and say maybe order a pizza so that it's ready by the time that you get down there and you're ready to pick it up. Because if you just come into town, at least this summer, and want to try to find a place to eat, you're going to be waiting for a minimum of an hour. So it's a good problem for the folks of West Yellowstone to have, in the sense that this is great for business and for tourism. But if if you're hungry. Be prepared. So here's some bonus info, if you will. If you're looking for where to stay, we actually stayed in the national forest. We had an electric only site, no water, no sewer. And that was an adventure in and of itself, but we made it through just fine. We were fine with our whole tank situation, surprisingly enough. We were also in super conserve mode. But there's national forest, there's campgrounds in the national park. There are private campgrounds outside of the national park. The West Yellowstone area is where we stayed just outside of. There's also a really cool looking lodge at the Old Faithful area. So we even thought it would be totally fun someday to ditch the RV for a night and stay in that lodge because it was just so cool looking. But needless to say, there's plenty of areas for lodging. If you plan on going in your RV, book in advance. We booked our particular campsite 6 months and 1 week in advance. I'll put a link above for a video on trip planning and kind of that little hack to book those sites through recreation.gov. So plenty of places to stay when you visit Yellowstone. So here's where we're gonna share what we talked about a little bit earlier as far as some must-see places and then how long to stay. Now, we stayed for 5 days and that was about perfect. You could definitely stay for longer. There is so much to see and do. Now, if you only have a few days to go, you definitely wanna see Old Faithful, which is in the Upper Geyser Basin, and you definitely want to see the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone National Park that has an amazing waterfall. In fact, this place just looks like a painting, and you'll know why they call it Yellowstone after visiting that particular area. Now, if you have a few more days, you definitely want to see the Grand Prismatic Spring. And when seeing the Grand Prismatic Spring, you definitely want to take the hike to Fairy Falls to be able to see the Grand Prismatic from more of an aerial type of view. This is a great time to then head over into the West Thumb area, which has more geysers that are around the actual lake. It's just breathtaking. And then if you have even more time, make sure that you head up to the Mammoth Hot Springs area, which is more towards the north side of the national park. Really recommend trying to plan as many days as possible. But even if you only have a day or two, Yellowstone National Park is definitely one that you want to visit. Have you been to Yellowstone National Park? You'll have to let us know in the comments below what your experience was and what your favorite places were too. That way, as other people watching this video see the comments, they get more ideas, and that's one of the things that we love about this RV community. And speaking of the RV community, we are so thankful for those of you supporting us on Patreon. It really helps us to keep bringing you these videos week in and week out, helps us to focus on this type of content on YouTube, and we couldn't do it without you. So a heartfelt thank you to those of you that are supporting us on Patreon.
If you found this video helpful, we'd love it if you like this video and subscribe to our channel.
If you'd like to see more videos with RV life tips, tricks, hacks, you can check those out right over here.
And if you'd like to see more travel vlogs, you can check those out right down here. Until next time, we'll see you on the road.